Hate to break it to you, but working with your friends isn't all what it's meant to be. Starting a business is already hectic, and trying to find somebody that you can align yourself with to start up a business together can sometimes be a gamble. Today I want to talk about my experiences starting my businesses and why I chose to go about it alone. And by all means, this is not financial or tax advice. This is just my personal experience in hopes that it can help you guys out. First, let's talk about the reasons about why it wouldn't work to start a business or work with a friend. Having to set up an LLC and do all that paperwork is already stressful enough that having to do it with somebody else can even be worse. You have to figure out the percentage of ownership of the company, what roles you're going to have within the company, and things of that sort that can sometimes be a headache with somebody else involved within it. You have to hope that everything in the future is going to be fine when it comes down to that partnership within that LLC, because you're doing a contract between each other for the ownership, depending if you choose to do, let's say 50-50, 70-30, whatever you choose to do, so that in the future, if one of you ever wants to leave the company, one of you would have to either forfeit your shares, sell them, buy them off of each other, and sometimes that can get a little bit messy when it comes down to that in the future. Because honestly, you won't know their intentions for their longevity within the business, how well they'll perform despite knowing them and being friends with them, since at the end of the day, as much as you know your friends, you truly don't know everything about them, which can be a risk for your business and for yourself. Having the conversation with your friends when it comes down to expenses, investments, budgeting, and things of that sort within the company and the business you're trying to start isn't the most exciting to have. Not every friendship has the comfort to openly talk about investments, money, and expenses for a business, which can make it harder down the road for the business growth, which can make it harder for the friendship as well, and it can cause a lot of hardships within it, which can affect the growth of the business and just not be a good start either way. See, not all friendships are equal. Some of them will be great when it comes down to doing some business with them. Sometimes it's not, and which can affect a lot of the burden into the friendship, which is something you have to consider for when wanting to make a business with a friend or work with them. Because sometimes the workload to the payout and the responsibilities and everything that comes within the business might not be equally shared or seen equally between each other. That can cause a lot of troubles when it comes down to the business side of things and starting a business with your friends and doing any projects with them, which can cause a lot of problems because in friendships, you don't want to hurt anybody's feelings. You want to not step into some boundaries and you're walking on eggshells, which can make it hard to talk about sensitive subjects like payout, expenses, investments for the future, and things of that sort. So sometimes it's better to be off on your own. So I'm gonna give you an example of when I was going to work with one of my friends when it came down to starting a business together and why I chose not to. See, I had a friend of mine that I was working at a tennis academy with that we were both friends and also knew our work-life balance style. So we knew each other pretty well from friendship and also in the workplace. So we decided that it would be beneficial to start our own tennis academy when it came down to expanding our growth for ourselves to make more money and as well to start a business. We then went ahead to start doing our market research, and we had responsibilities within each other to say that we were going to be looking at places for rental and location to see what would make sense for the business to start. So as time progressed, I was the one looking up for certain sections. He was supposed to be looking for other sections. And when we started kind of going back to each other to see what had come up with, I would be the one to always have something new to come bring to the table. And he really would just not really bring anything or have some excuse of why he hadn't been able to reach out to any places. So it started kind of making me doubt already then and there that the passion and the ideology and the work ethic for the same thing that we both wanted wasn't there. Despite him wanting the same thing as me, he wasn't really putting the time and effort that I was doing. So I decided to consult with one of my dad's friends who was my accountant, and he dealt with a lot of business consultations, and I asked him the following: do you think that I should be in partnership with somebody despite of them being really well qualified with their work ethic in the sense of being a great coach and knowing their things, but not really putting the time and effort that I'm putting to, start the business, where we're gonna go, how to grow it and everything? And he gave me some great advice that I went ahead and used. He told me, start your own LLC, because then you do not have to worry about buying out anybody for ownership or anything, or have to share any revenue that you don't need to be sharing if they're not putting the same effort as you. At the end of the day, you can always contract them to their either own LLC or themselves as a 1099 contractor or anything that you need to, so that you can also just, separate the business and friendship a little bit, but have better communications when it comes down to contract work rather than having sole, 50-50 ownership of the company to create more chaos within each other. So I went ahead and found the course that I wanted to do, since my friend kind of stopped, trying to find anything and would be very bad with communication, which gave me that push to just start my own thing more. And I went ahead and found the course that made sense for me to grow a tennis academy and have my own LLC within it. Funniest thing is, once I released that I was starting my tennis academy, he finally messaged me back for things that I had asked him about what he was looking for months. And he went, awesome, so that means we got the tennis courts, when do we start? Which simply, I just didn't even feel like replying at that stage, because it just showed me he didn't really care for one, the friendship, and two, to be serious about the business venture. So I just decided to not really converse at that moment, and later on just talk and just, say whatever we needed to say. But moral of the story, it just made sense to work for myself in that aspect and use my accountant's advice when it came down with an LLC to start for myself, and then, bring people onto for projects more contractually. So now let's cover of when you should start a business or working with your friends, and what alternatives you have as well. Starting a business with a friend can make a lot of sense if you have somebody that you really coincide in values, work ethic, have the same goals, same visions for the business, and are willing to put equal amount of work ethic when it comes down to it. This can probably help grow a business faster because you have somebody that can back you up when needed when it comes down to the growth of the early stages of any business, which is very important when it comes down to that. Because it's always nice and great to have somebody that be part of your team and growth that can support you the same way that you can support them, so that you can push each other to reach the next milestone of the business as you push each other to reach that ultimate goal that you would have when starting a business together. For me, it's always great to have somebody that you can bounce off ideas with, that have the same alignment of goals that you have within a business. So if you can have that in a partnership to start an LLC and a company or a business within each other, that's always great for the business growth. Which not necessarily do you have to do a business together in the sense of an equal partnership, but like how I stated, starting your own LLC and your friend starting their own LLC, but then contract each other to be able to do certain jobs. That way, there's no miscommunications and no issues when it comes down to the projects that you're trying to hire each other for. And that way, both businesses grow. This allows you to have boundaries for each business, and that way you're able to still have a great friendship, but can also still bounce off each other some ideas or anything that you have to grow each other businesses. But this way, I think it works a lot smoother, and that's something that I've done for myself personally. So now, should you start a business or work with a friend? Well, ultimately, it's up to you. See, I personally started a business by myself and kept all my future businesses to be started by myself, and simply just work more on a contract basis with friends, because it makes everything a lot smoother, because you can clarify anything that you need to within a contract. This helps just really clarify any responsibilities, payouts, or anything that you want to within your friend's business and your business, so that you're not having to have any headaches when it comes down to knowing what ownership or partnership you're doing, but it's more clarified within the project, and you can go ahead and work on certain projects that make sense to hire each other, and maybe some other ones that don't make sense, you just don't hire each other, and it creates less stress for the friendship and helps your businesses grow a lot more. So if you're clear within each project about just communication, responsibilities, payout, and everything, I think it'll benefit more when it comes down to working with friends this way instead of starting a business with a friend, since that's something that has helped me out and personally for the growth of my businesses and as well for my friends. So sometimes it's better off to just go ahead and do your own thing, but bring your friends along with you individually within each project, rather than starting a business with them and sometimes working with them just directly without having set boundaries or communications that can affect the friendship and the growth of each other's business. So at the end of the day, you have to decide what's best for you when it comes down to starting a business with a friend, staying solo, and maybe working more contractually within your friends and how you hire them for certain projects, or figure out what best method might work for you. These are my experiences when it came down to my business choices and what has helped me grow financially and through my businesses. So hopefully they'll enlighten you and give you a little bit of insight of what could work best for you as well in the future. But with all that said and done, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. Make sure to like and subscribe, share this video with a friend. I'll catch you guys in the next one. See ya.